Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So for today's look, we're going a little darker than usual. I usually never wear my makeup like this. John told me to go get him another beer.
So, when did your daughter go missing?
She left me at 10 o'clock last night.
What is up, EWOO crew? On October 31st, 2019, 25-year-old Stephanie Parze of Freehold, New Jersey was reported missing by her mother, Charlene Parze.
And we still haven't heard from her. She's still not home.
Okay, what's her name?
Stephanie
And last name?
Parze, P as in Peter, A-R-Z-E.
Okay. What is her ex-boyfriend's name, that there's a history of domestics?
John Osbligen.
Her mother reported that her family had not seen or heard from her since the night before when they parted ways after attending a psychic show in New Brunswick together. She gave me 3 kisses goodbye, and I just told her to call me or text me when she gets home, and I never heard from her, Charlene Parze said. Stephanie's boyfriend, John Osbilgen, claimed to have stayed with her at her home the night before. Osbilgen also told Stephanie's sister that she was getting ready for work the last time he had seen her. On Halloween, she was scheduled to babysit but never showed up, which her family said wasn't like her at all. This alarmed her mother enough that she called the police a short time later. When police went to Stephanie's house, they found her car in the driveway, along with her dog in the house alone. Her cell phone was also left behind. By the end of the search, the police couldn't find any sign of forced entry and no indication of where Stephanie was or what had happened to her.
Lips, never wore black. But I'm kind of feeling it today. And this new wig.
Stephanie had a good life with no reason to want to walk away from it. In fact, her family said the only thing wrong in her life was her on-again, off-again relationship with Osbilgen. 2 days after Stephanie Parze disappeared, the investigation revealed the possession of illegal imagery depicting minors on John Osbilgen's cell phone. He was promptly arrested after the discovery and adamantly denied the charge. The detectives saw marks on his neck at that time, suggesting a struggle if he had indeed been involved with Stephanie's disappearance. He quickly became a prime suspect in her case, and the evidence started to pile up. Police confiscated Osbilgen's phone and traced the GPS data to a wooded area around Staten Island Long Pond Park. Data shows he was in the area for around 6 hours. Now, John Osbilgen was no stranger to law enforcement. He had a drug possession charge from 2010, and in 2019, he was arrested twice in 3 months. In June 2019, he assaulted an unknown woman, and in September, he became violent after Stephanie tried to break up with him. She told the police at the time that she was afraid he would assault her again. There was also a third earlier assault charge from another unknown woman. Upon seeing the charge Parze put on her boyfriend, they began to look deeper. Prosecutors revealed that Osbilgen sent Parze 10 angry text messages and private Facebook messages in the span of 9 minutes the night before she went missing. The profanity-filled messages blamed Parze for the failure of their relationship. Stephanie didn't respond to any of the messages. Prosecutors revealed the text messages to Superior Court Judge Paul X. Eskandon in an effort to convince him to leave Osbilgen in jail while awaiting trial. The search for Parze's remains was still very active at that time. Their efforts failed, however, and John was released on Tuesday, November 19th. Merely 3 days later, though, on November 22nd, he took his own life.
Tonight, a person of interest in the case of a missing New Jersey woman is dead, and many wonder if he took a secret with him.
Now, the family is processing stunning news. Her ex-boyfriend, John Osbilgen, a person of interest in the case, is dead.
When John Osbilgen's remains were found in the garage of his parents' house, 2 notes were discovered, scrawled on the back of shopping lists. One was addressed to his parents, and the other was to an ex-girlfriend. The note left for John's parents read, "Mom, Dad, Sal, Sammy. Sorry about all this craziness. I've been miserable for so long now, I had enough. Thanks for everything. I can't do life in prison. Most of the stuff you will hear is true. Use the pics with me and redacted for the funeral. That was the only time in my life where I was truly happy. I want, redacted, to help plan everything with you. Tell her I'm sorry and I love her. She was so good to me. We had an amazing life. I messed it up. She only did good for me. I dug myself in a deep hole. This is the only choice. I love you guys." The note left to his ex-girlfriend read, "I love you so much, little lady. I miss you so much. I don't know what I was thinking when I messed our relationship up. You were the best thing that happened to me. I tried to move on many times. I will never feel for another lady the way I feel for you. Recently, I tried to reach out to you. You got a restraining order? Why? At that moment, I felt like my entire world ended. I truly needed you in a huge way. Look at the mess I created. Laugh out loud. Don't believe everything in the news. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have an amazing life. You deserve it. Not a day goes by where I don't think about you and Ben. The girl in the news with me was such a piece of work. She hurt me over and over when I was already at my lowest. She was a horrible person. Please help my parents with my funeral. You're the only person I have ever loved. Sorry for everything. I wish I could go back in time and correct my mistakes, but I can't." When Osbilgen never mentioned Stephanie by name in his letters, police concluded that he was admitting his guilt when he said that, "Most of the stuff you will hear is true. I dug myself in a deep hole, and look at the mess I created." He never outright confessed, never mentioned where her remains were, and most of his regret was centered on how things ended with his ex than about what happened to Stephanie. In fact, how he blatantly disparaged the woman whose life he had taken shows a glimpse into how his mind worked. Osbilgen's family chose to look at the letters in a different way. They believed it was not a confession and that their son was innocent. In fact, they believe the contents of the notes confirm that he was not responsible. In a written statement, Hakan and Cynthia Osbilgen said, "We are very sorry for her family, and we hope they can find peace through this nightmare. We don't truly know what happened to Stephanie, but what we do know is John never said that he hurt Stephanie to us or in the note he left us. We believe he is innocent. But all the pressure from the false charges and the constant searches and relentlessness caused him to take his own life." Osbilgen's family attorney, Richard E. in Cremona, declared, "The family is obviously distraught and has been distraught for a couple of weeks now. They have, from the beginning, offered their cooperation. There have been pressures on them with warrants and subpoenas. They have no privacy here. You see what's going on here. This has been going on for weeks." The Parze family said at the time that they had no public comments to make regarding Osbilgen's death. Their focus was only on finding their daughter. On Sunday, January 26, 2020, 18-year-old Jeremy Carlos Perez and 17-year-old Eric Rodriguez were walking to the Old Bridge, New Jersey catering hall where they both worked. As they passed a guardrail along the busy highway, they spotted what they thought was a mannequin 6 feet away near a wooded area. When they went to take a closer look, they quickly realized it was a lifeless victim, fully clothed and lying face down.
Today, the family of a missing 25-year-old still processing the news they feared. This after her body discovered in a wooded area off Route 9 in Old Bridge, New Jersey.
Yeah, an autopsy determined the body was Stephanie Parze. She went missing a day before Halloween.
The next day, an autopsy confirmed that these were the remains of Stephanie Parze, although the cause of death was never released. She had been found 15 miles from her home and half a mile from where her family had searched in late November. The remains were discovered in plain sight, so that someone walking by could see them, but positioned in a way that made it impossible for motorists to see it as they drove by. By this point, she had been missing for almost 3 months. Edward Parze, Stephanie's father, spoke at a news conference later that day. Breaking down in tears, he said, "It goes without saying that our family is devastated. Our friends, our community, and our lives are never going to be the same. However, Stephanie is home. She's coming home at last. We have to thank all of Steph's angels. We could not have gotten through this without you." Steph's Angels refers to the large group of volunteers that helped search for Stephanie. In the 87 days between when she went missing and when her remains were found, Steph's Angels searched over 60 sites in Staten Island and New Jersey. Prosecutor Christopher Gramaccioni spoke to the evidence they found tying Osbilgen to Parze's murder, but would not specify what the evidence was since the investigation was ongoing. He did state, however, that they had been actively seeking to charge Osbilgen with murder. During the early days of the investigation, the police executed more than 50 search warrants. 5 of those warrants were on Osbilgen's home. During these searches, the evidence found pointed to Osbilgen as the killer. But the police say it was the notes that he left behind that confirmed what they had already strongly suspected. In regard to Stephanie Parze's remains being found, Gramaccioni said, "This was a finding we had expected since early November, but was only recently confirmed with further analysis of evidence we had seized during our investigation. Police don't believe anyone else was connected to Parze's murder." Gramaccioni went on to say, "No one else is responsible. The responsibility belongs to John Osbilgen and John Osbilgen alone. Police think that he murdered Stephanie either late on the night of October 30th or in the early morning hours of October 31st, before dumping her remains on the side of the road." Stephanie Parze's family said she had been dating Osbilgen for only a few months, which her Facebook posts appear to confirm. Only a month into their relationship, Stephanie pressed assault charges against Osbilgen. Needless to say, their short-term relationship was toxic from the beginning, and sadly ended in tragedy for Stephanie Parze. Ed Parze, Stephanie's father, had this to say about Osbilgen. He was a typical manipulator. He kept worming his way back in. The family had disliked him from the beginning. The first time they had met him, Stephanie brought him along on a family rafting trip, just as friends at the time. Ed Parze said that Osbilgen was just not sociable at all. "I didn't like the way the guy looked at people." In September, Osbilgen was arrested for assault, and this is when Stephanie's family became aware of his history. In order to support Stephanie, her parents went to court with her, but despite this, Parze allowed him to continue to contact her. The irony is, if this had happened to her sisters, she would have been all over the guy. Ed Parze said, "She was 25 and looking for something serious. Everything he said, he just lied." A former girlfriend of John Osbilgen spoke to Asbury Park Press and told them that she believed that Osbilgen might have suffocated Parze. This ex-girlfriend was the same one who filed charges against him in June. However, it is not clear if the unnamed ex is the same one that Osbilgen references in his notes. The ex-girlfriend also confirmed something that was evident in the notes. She had been in contact with him during the investigation and said that he showed no concern for Stephanie Parze. She also stated that he had recently begun stalking yet another ex-girlfriend. This might be the woman Osbilgen references in his notes, as the woman had filed a restraining order against him. On January 21st, 2020, 5 days after her remains were found, Stephanie Parze was laid to rest at St. Rose of Lima Cemetery in Freehold, New Jersey. Earlier that day, mourners packed the St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church to honor the young woman whose life was cut so tragically short. These included family, friends, volunteers, and people from the local community who had taken an active interest in the high-profile case.
I've never seen myself in this type of makeup before, and I'm actually really excited about it, so...
Rather than just dwell on her murder, the family chose to use the service to honor her life. In a program handed out to the attendees, the Parze family said, "We would like to thank you all for helping us celebrate Stephanie's life and spirit. The support, love, kindness, and friendship during these last 3 months gave us strength, lit our fires of hope, and renewed our faith. We are forever grateful. It has given us comfort to be surrounded by family and friends in this time of grief." Underneath a picture of the Parze family standing in front of a waterfall, they wrote, "Your angels have found you and guided you back to all who love you. The pain of not knowing has subsided now that we know you are safe and sound in heaven." The family described Stephanie as feisty and independent, a spitfire, and a 4'11" firecracker. They also said she was giving, fiercely loving, and protective of her family. Ed Parze states she had a generous nature that Osbilgen took advantage of. Shortly after Stephanie Parze's remains were found, the family created a foundation in her name and honor. The family has been very active in their work for the foundation.
Thanks!
They have appeared on the Dr. Oz show, raised awareness, and actively joined in assisting in other missing person cases. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. A playlist is going to pop up right now with more videos you'll love. See you guys next time.
I'll see you guys next time.